Hello, Cal. Hello, Jerry. ¿Dónde están todos? It's just starting, I guess. Um, we gotta give it a few minutes, like usual, for people to join. We just got news. Caught me on a short. It was a good level, but I guess news trampled price action, right? I'm still gonna give it the room. I said I was gonna give it some room, so I'm gonna be patient because I'm aiming for lower. But things are not going my way, so yay for news. Let's just give it a few minutes. Let me put the announcement that we just started so people can join. I forget where the trading floor is at. Right here. Would you see bailout after bailout? Um, of course, it's gonna be on YouTube like always. For people that want to visit the recording. My goodness, that was such a bad timing for a short. My goodness. All right, I'm willing to risk it for the biscuit. All right, we'll see. In fact, I'm gonna close my trading platform so I don't see the P&L anymore. It's gonna distract me from this analysis. Shoo losses. We already have our stops and we have our targets and we have our pieces and our bias. Like I say, just a couple more minutes for people to join and we'll start. I got a couple of good data for you. Actually, it's kind of changing right now with this pump. So I guess yeah, we have to consider them. This news, oof, that's a big drop on bonds right here. How was everybody's day today? I hope it was good. Huge pump in the middle of the day. You were part of it. Congratulations. Actually, while people are joining, it's because I hate when people join late and they start asking me about to repeat myself, right? But let's talk about the intraday and how could you spot such action today, right? Um, yeah, so this is the intraday session. As you guys know, this is the start of it and this is the end of it. Very bullish close, but I mean, we've seen very bullish closes before. like this one, that end up failing. Probably in the back of actions news as well. Let's talk about the intraday, right? Where you open lower, we're just gonna place a line at the prior day lows, which is this right here. And we're gonna take a look at the open right here. So this is something that you have to you guys be aware of, because a lot of the times when people see like a big gap down, big move on the overnight to the downside, it's immediately, people are immediately thinking like, oh, it's a super bearish, that the war's ending and blah blah blah, right? Little to be known, you should know that you don't tend to stay with gaps unfilled on the daily, right? So if this is a prior day low, this is where we open today. We basically have this much price action, so it's actually not a bad idea to long the market on a gap down if it's not too large, for a possible fill, right? So what is that, like 20 points, I believe? Yeah, 20 points of a gap. You fill it out, and then you wait for the next trade, right? But this is a trade that it's been very helpful for me on my trading. Obviously, sometimes the market has a gap down where it opens, it drops a little more, takes out the overnight low, and I think that was a Monday action, and then it fills the gap, right? I think it was Monday action. Let me see. Was this Monday? 13. Yeah, 13. Yeah, basically right here, right? This was the prior day low right here. Oops. Right, prior day low on Friday, and we open, where do we open? Right here. So we have this much of a gap, so immediately longing it is not the best idea. You have to see signs of okay, this thing is not really dumping at the open, right? But what happens later on is you do get a gap fill, right? And then you look for your next trade, but that's a trade idea, right? So gaps are not immediately they're not gonna fill immediately, but it's very weird to see a gap to be left unfilled on the daily. And god damn this market, I'm gonna have to get all this short. Anyway, the let me see. All right. So that was a good trade at the open to fill the gap for a cool 20 points. After that, like I said, it's a little bit of a tricky situation. Once it fills the gap and it starts rejecting the prior day range, it becomes a little bit bearish. It was very what's it called? Very two-sided, right? It was very wonky on this action. If you look at the sectors and all that, it was like the market was very undecided if it was gonna pump or dump. What are we doing? And there were some good short opportunities and whatnot, right? I think a lot of one of the biggest key takeaways was defending this low, because this low, even though the overnight low became this very deep low, when you see this low right here behind it, that becomes before the news, because this was a PPI reaction right here. You kind of want to ignore a little bit of this action. I mean, don't ignore it completely, but for all intents and purposes, if you have some kind of meaningful low before that, take that into account. This is a low to watch out for instead of this low. Because now shorts are basically looking for once you're coming down, you're looking for a break of that low, and it's just not, when it doesn't materialize and you hold the real low, the overnight. I'm not gonna say it's real, right? But that's basically a good long opportunity, and you combine that with some favorite tracements and whatnot, you realize that we have some confluence. So I'll tell you a little secret right here. When you're trending lower and you're rejecting favorite tracements, right? rejecting some kind of fib retracement and whatnot on the 5 minute time frame, and you end up hitting some kind of fib retracement that is hitting the like a small one, right? Something like this, where it came down on this leg down on the 5 minutes. I'm sorry, is this? Yeah. Sorry, this one right here. So you made this leg up, you come down all the way over here. You end up rejecting the 618, 6.5, 618 of the last leg down, and you only end up getting like 10% extension or something like that, like a very incremental low, something that does not represent another leg down like this much, right? Like this amount of leg down right here. If you would have seen it past that low right here, actually it was that low, right? Up to here and then bounce. But if you don't see a meaningful leg down after a rejection like that, it's basically the sellers are like stair stepping down, and you know something about the sellers. They have paper hands. Sellers are paper hands, you know. So they push themselves out, you know, and we have those incredible moves to the upside on that sense because of that happening. Says Slap TV was saying the last minute algo push was very bullish. So as it was the prior day algo, it was very bullish as well, and we opened with a negative, almost negative 2%. So yeah, it's a hard tell, right? And to me, it was not very bullish. This one right here, and it's just because it comes at the very end, and trust me, if somebody thinks that the market is viable today, if participants think that the market is very viable today into tomorrow, they're not gonna rush in at the last minute. You're not gonna go in like, oh shit, I gotta buy at the last minute. You know, it's stuff like this. It's more like, oh shit, I'm short. I did not get my my intended targets or everything that I wanted out of the market short. So I end up, you know, they end up closing their position at the last minute, right? You know, somebody does it. So people are building shorts throughout this day. They don't get paid today, so they just get out of the trade, and that's why people are rushing at the door to get out of trades, not to get in. You know, the market didn't become desirable out of the sudden. Waiting for Cube to say yes, 4,400. I mean, I just took a short at the wrong place, but I'll tell you what I see. And I see possibilities for both sides, right? I see possibilities for both sides. I was looking for something else. It didn't happen. So I'll lick my wounds and walk away. So anyway, this push forward, whenever you see very violently coming off the overnight lows without breaking the like a whole range of the overnight lows, this is when you start looking for upside trades, right? When you take your last leg up to where it ended, it starts pulling back, and you start joining like the 50% retracement, boom, into a 10% extension. That's a short. You see it hold up the next retracements. Actually, I went long on this, but didn't. Got stopped out. No, I took a small profit off of this. This is where you take like the 618, went a little lower, but that was for a very brief moment. You didn't have stop losses. It wouldn't take you out. If you had stop losses, it took you out. And then a massive pump, right? Then we have the massive pump. And then obviously some sideways trading action into the close, but following the fib retracements rules still, you will notice that this pump right here traded sideways, but it went up to the 618 retracement. And that's a good long right here. That's a good long right here. I actually got this long, but I closed it around right here. So I didn't expect much out of it. And it just went. Just as an example, this overnight, if this upside is gonna get continuation, you're gonna get something like this this little 5-minute move to get some buyers over here, like this, right? So if you think this is gonna keep going higher, you buy around this area, stops are below this area, and you take it even higher, right? So that's the idea. Or you can go for it, wait for the 618, so you have a lower added risk trade, you know, somewhere where it touches this area. This is where you can go long. boom, for a breakout if you think that move is going to continue higher. And this is on the 5-minute time frame. So yeah, now that we have some people coming in to the ocean floor, it says, hello, Kelvin. Hello, Kelvin. So we're just going to take a look at this on the daily and assess what we're seeing right here. Right. So I have a very wide stop loss on my short, and I'm going to keep it that way. You know, I didn't intend to short the very top, even though sometimes I do, but I didn't do it this time. So let's see what happens, right? So right on the daily, we have this kind of trend line right here that we can draw off to this daily, I think. Let me see what I see. Let me see. A little bit right here of daily lower highs right here. Not so perfect, right? But we had this kind of trend line, so we'll see if that gets if this keeps the price down. And also, you're gonna take a look at the retracements of the daily candles. Starting, you're gonna have two perspectives on the daily candles, and basically this is your weekly perspective. You know, this is your weekly perspective right here, because in reality the trend on the daily, it came up a little bit right here, and it rejected this one right here, right? So this is, but this one we can take a look at this on the weekly like this, right? So you're basically rejecting a little bit below the 50% retracement off of that move, right? So that's bearish. That's bearish because the not even reaching half point and already selling. That is not ideal for the market, and we know why this area is so important, right? We know that these highs right here represent a lot of points on the market. If you look left right here, you're gonna see this. You actually pull it back on the hourly. You pull it back on the hourly, you'll see multiple rejections of this right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, right. So that was a lot of people caught this short, and I'm glad they did, because it was a very to me it was a very easy short. I got short in some stuff right there, but honestly true, I did not enjoy that many points, you know, to the downside. But anyway, so that's a weekly perspective starting from this point. Now, if you go down to the daily perspective, you're gonna anchor it from year to year, and you'll notice like that short, like I said, is best. It was exact to the penny on SPX to the 618. Right here on futures, it's rejecting a little bit below. So off of this move, you know what they call, you know, people that have big tolerance on their shorts, and will stop down only if it gets violated. They will be building shorts all about this area, right? On this area, there can be a build up for shorts to then take lower, because if it doesn't go up higher than this, it says the precedent, right? That this move of this whole move that it made down is still rejecting at least this in between the 618 and the 50% retracement right here on this area. Now, you guys, I don't know if you guys are familiar with one time frame continuity. This is what it means is like, what is the daily candles doing in terms of higher highs or lower or higher lows, and lower highs, higher lows, lower lows, blah blah blah, right? So if you look at one time frame continuity, we had a set of this was up to, from this candle, it was a higher high and a lower low, right? And then from this candle, it was a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and this was a higher low with a kind of equal high, a slightly by a few ticks, right? Even higher. It broke the candle up to the highs. But this candle right here that we just had today is one of the reasons I'm bearish, because it did not break the prior candle high, so it makes it for a lower high, right? So I think tomorrow's, if this is gonna be maintained, you know, to the downside, the tomorrow's candle should make a lower low, breaking this low right here, and should not make a higher high. You know, it should not make a higher high. So if you're short this market, you would like to have some stop losses above this candle high right here, you know, to withstand some pain and whatnot. The now for longs, you would like to see this whole thing of lower lows and lower highs change, because this is what we have on the daily. We had a set of higher highs and higher lows, and now we have a set of lower highs and lower lows, right? So for longs, you would like to for this trend to change. That's when you start looking for long opportunities. When if this is this now this place this high, right? This higher low at this moment compared to this low, this is a higher low. So if you end up having a daily candle that does break this high and does not make a lower low, you have changed from a set of lower I'm sorry for lower lows into a higher low. This will be the first. If tomorrow's candle is green, it will be your first set of higher lows. That's when you have to flip very, very bullish at that moment. Let's look at the 5-minute action to see if this is gonna if this pump is gonna hold. So it's coming in into this level. You see if this pump is gonna hold, and we'll see if the 5-minute holds, right? Well, I'm not gonna sit around for 5 minutes to watch out, but that's the idea. So that's the takeaway with ES, right? Remember that ES is composed in different stuff, and you'll notice the difference between. I know some people like to look at ES and trade NQ with it or whatever, but we have two different markets right now. Technology is very strong. I mean, I've been declared Nvidia now. I'm declaring Nvidia today. The unshortable stock is never gonna come down. That's it. It's going to the moon because it just never comes down. But yeah, we see a little difference on the market because technology is very strong, guys. Technology is very strong, and we'll analyze the NQs, right? So for downside targets if we end up making a lower low right here, I'm looking at as a reference point the SPX. We're gonna look at this right here as a reference point for SPX. So one of the main takeaways is that we had I don't know if you this moving average. It's a simple moving average. So we had a test of the 200 SMA and rejection, right? So that sets when the market tried to hold it and lost it, now it's testing it on the other side. It kind of tells you that the way is down at that moment because of that, right? So just from this candle, so you did get a move down off of this candle. I don't know if it's gonna continue lower. This candle looks very bullish at this moment. I think tomorrow open we'll know what it is, what this is about. If we end up opening way lower or we end up opening way higher, we'll see what's up with this. We close the candle very, very close to the highs, leaving a very small wick right here. So tomorrow's action, if you want to see bullishness, you would like to see an open above the daily candle's high, or you would like to see a hold of the prior day BPOC. So not opening too below the BPOC. So the BPOC is this one right here, right? So you ended up opening above this level, 3,900. You could possibly see a upside right here. We are into quad witching week, by the way, on Friday. It's gonna make things very interesting, and I know that the highest gamma strike right here. I was just reported by a friend that we have the magnet for OPEX is between 3,900 and 3,950. It's a 50-point buffer. It's quite large, but that's the biggest gamma area that we have. And I believe this is for SPX. Let me ask. I'm guessing it's for ES because he always references for ES levels. 3,900 and 3,950. If it's for SPX, then we have some upside to go. Possibly this top of the range, because this top of I don't know if you notice this green side right here and this red side right here. They're basically expected moves for the week by options markets on the SPX. So the options markets on SPX is expecting an upside up to this level and a downside up to this level right here. We'll see what happens, but if it's, as my friend is referring to 3,950 is right here. So very good chance that we hit those highs for OPEX, right? For quad witching day. All right. Let's see what's next. Yeah. So if we end up going bullish, will be my target. This will be my target. This area right here. I will watch out a lot what the 200 SMA interaction is, but I will count that the day has placed a higher high and a higher low at that moment if we end up going bullish. Like I said, this perspective on the Phipps on SPX was very perfect. In fact, to the penny on the 618 rejection. And if you take into consideration the same approach on the bullseye, if you anchor this low to this highs, and you'll notice that we did trade it but didn't close the candle below the 618, but there was a trade below the 618. The candle's not closed below it, it's closing above the 50%, so that's still bullish. But if you end up having traveling across down again, I would expect this the 618, you know, just like we had it to the downside right here, to be trading the 10% extension right here. So if this is materializes and we end up trading up to the 10% extension, you know, that's gonna be huge, right? That will be a good target for the downside where it touches almost the expected move to the downside. You know, that'll be something. And I just got confirmed by my friend that 3900 to 3950 is the OPEX magnet for on SPX. So all this area right here, this 50-point buffer right here that you see up to here. Yeah, this area right here. So this is magnet for OPEX. Keep it in mind for Friday. A lot of bets are placed on that end. Keep it in mind, guys. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, we have the bullish scenario, which is a rise to the OPEX area, a higher high and a possible higher high on the daily. I mean a higher low. I'm sorry, not a higher high, a higher low. And the bearish scenario, it's basically holding the 618 down into a 10% extension, almost touching the expected move to the downside right here. Okay. All right. Next up, we're gonna look at NQ. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. All right. Let's actually look at this 5-minute right here. So that was a good scalp if you follow that entry. People that follow that entry of the 618 should be green, right? So the path is still up. 5-minute EMA, 20 EMA is still holding up. We'll see what happens next. If this sell side move is gonna have any meaning, you will like to see just on the other side some kind of rejection of this area for it to fall back down, right? We'll see. I think this was on the back of some news that came out that I saw it on Trading Floor. What was it that somebody let me see. So it's Credit Suisse to borrow up to, what is that, CHF 50 billion from Swiss Bank to strengthen liquidity. I guess Credit Suisse is saved. Oh, I mean, everybody's jumping in to try to save the banking sector, and I think that's very telling. That's you know, some kind of like desperate moves. You know, the fears of this being a contagion effect. You know, to spreading out across other banks. Next up, we're gonna take a look at. I don't like what the bonds did right there. Anyway, for the short side, right? Next up, we're gonna look at NQ real quick. Look, was this the pump that NQ had for the? If you notice, I mean, NQ deleted this pump right here that it had on the news, all the way down. Man, if I was short NQ, I would be a break even at least right now. Interesting, right? So this is very interesting that the NQs did not get that much above. So NQ does look very bullish on the daily, guys. Not gonna lie. So if you look at something like let's look at it on the weekly first. The weekly is holding the weekly 20 MA very nicely. It's holding this lows right here This 11,849 area, 50 area. This area is pretty big, and right now, if I were to look at this on the weekly, yeah, I see that I probably have to get out of the shorts because I see this. If you notice this, we're still trading inside the prior week range. Now, being inside on the weekly is rare for ES, not that rare for NQ. It happens a little more often, right? But let's say that probability says that it's very low probable that you stay as an inside wick. Like this one was an inside wick right here, right? But this further candles are not inside, right? They tend to break one of the extremes. So right now, this one did not break that low by a few ticks, and you're actually looking to break this high. So NQ at this moment look bullish. Look bullish to at least break this high, you know? So this weekly, the last weekly candle high is a probable break to the upside. Yeah, that's a probable break to the upside right here. So how far does it go up? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's up to momentum, right? But NQ is probably gonna trade above this high right here sometime this week. When, at what time in the week? Probably overnight. Who knows? But that's very probable right there. All right. Sorry, I got distracted there for a second. Um, so yeah, so that's very probable right there. That's very probable right there. So this one is looking very bullish on the daily. It's holding those EMAs on the weekly. It's above the daily 20. That's very important to be on an uptrend. And right now, any favorite tracement, anything that you see right here, it's basically negated to the downside, right? This rejected the 618 at one point, right? Off of this move down, but it's look way above it. It's actually making some 100% retracement up to this point, you know. It already made the 100% retracement up to that point. If you take this perspective right here, it's way above the 618, the 65, so it's probably gonna make a 100% retracement as well. You have a trend line to go at the highs right here. So a lot of things are pointing to go higher on tech, at least for the next daily candles. You have a set of higher highs. You look at this candle on the daily, on the one time framing, you have a higher low and a higher high on this daily candle. So technology is way stronger at the moment, way stronger. You still have to take into consideration that this was a prior demand, and now this is a supply. Now that it became a selling action of this on the other side, so take that into consideration. But at this moment, technology looks bullish. So this is a tale of two markets. For some reason, as bearish as we are in all these sectors, technology is holding very, very, very well. Will it? I think the big downside on ES or the whole market overall is when this thing gives up. When technology finally gives up, is when you can finally see some big moves to the downside, because everybody else is dropping like a rock. I mean, not everybody else, but I mean, we can look at sectors individually. We already have a big downside on you already have big downside on financials, right? Financials already make their big leg down. It took some very some big down moves to the market. I don't see bottoming signs of this. I highly doubt it's gonna have a B-shaped recovery. Maybe, I mean, this thing is extended to the downside, but at least some sideways. And if we can see some bottoming pattern before going back into longs, I think XLF is still. I mean, it makes its move down, right? I mean, I highly doubt that this is. I mean, gonna continue much lower until we have developing news, right, on the market. We have right now XLE to go for. This one is very is this one is looking very interesting, very interesting, because we have a loss of the 618 retracement. Oil is down a lot. It lost a lot of the distribution area, accumulation area, however you want to call it. There was a lot of wicks happening on oil trading sideways, and it finally broke to the downside. This thing is way below expected moves, I believe. Yeah, this thing is double the expected move right here, if you notice. So this thing got crazy to the downside on oil. And I think, financials did a 3 times expected move when it broke down. We'll see how it does on XLE, right? Where you have the sectors like healthcare that it is putting some kind of bottoming pattern right now, but it's heavily down on the year, right? This is a yearly open, and you can see that it's heavily down on the year. Um, you can see right now the green trade right now is basically utilities and staples, which is not, it's a very defensive move for the market. It's not what you're gonna call it very bullish sign, even though it is buying pressure for the market. You see XLP going this high. I believe you're gonna see names like Costco or Walmart going up. You see Walmart. Yeah, you see Walmart right here. So this is all screaming the recession trade, you know. Oil down and staples up. It screams like a recession trade. Coca-Cola maybe is up a lot. Had a green day, maybe not up a lot, but Kroger was up a lot today. You know, Kroger was up 2.35%. That's quite a move for Kroger. It doesn't really move that much. A big green candle right here. So I don't know if the market's still gonna pile in into those defensive names, but I mean the market is not entirely bearish, but you see that the defensive play is going on right now. You know, that's the name of the play. There's a little bit of green. I'm sorry, green. Not communications was green today. So watch out for those names today because XLC was green. I think part of it was Netflix. That was had a very nice day today to the upside. You're gonna have stuff like T-Mobile, or T-Mobile is this one. Had a good nice day, green day on the today. AT&T, Verizon. I don't know what else is in communications. Is it Disney and Roku in communications? You know, so watch for communications to possibly go higher. Right, watch for this to possibly go higher. This is putting signs of a bullish trade right now on communications. Um, it's a technology and the green, just at the very end, it was red. It still didn't break the prior day's highs, but it's still red. It's still going, and yeah, so that's there. It's consumer discretionary. Had a nice green candle. It's still red on the day by a slightly bit. It's almost unchanged on the session. You know, from prior day close. This one's down quite a bit from the yearly open. You know, it looks. I'm sorry. This is healthcare. Sorry, I meant to say discretionary, right here. This was actually up from the year right here, and discretionary is still holding. Is still below that bearish retracement. You know, but it didn't make a nice leg down right here. I think I think today was sellers crushed. Sellers were dreams were crushed by this day. You know, because this candle rejection right here on the 618 and this open right here screams for the more downside, and it didn't happen. You know, it didn't happen. So remember that a lot of the moves, and the more the moves that are in larger range are gonna be filled by where are the most people positioned into that are on the wrong side. You know, so this would be a straight sell for the market, and it didn't go lower. You know, so yeah, see, we see a lot of that bullishness happening right there. A lot of yeah, a lot of possible outcomes for the upside. Jose Industrials. Industrials is down a lot. He had a huge gap down. How's it on XLI? Went a little bit below expected move to 200 SMA. It's down a lot though. Industrials. Who is Boeing today? Down quite a bit. 4%. That's down kind of way. Triple M had a bounce, but it made a new 52-week low. Honeywell had a very bearish day today. Interesting. So yeah, I think a lot of it screams recession. The way what I'm seeing, selling industrials, selling XLE, selling oil, buying consumer staples. That screams recession, but obviously, this is a very bearish looking chart on oil futures right here. This is a lot of consolidation, break lower. You know, this is gonna make it tough to go higher. We'll see what happens, but it doesn't look very. Oil doesn't look bullish at all. So continue to look for signs for a possible shorts on oil names. CVX, XOM, Oxy. Oxy is one of my best looking charts, I believe, for continuation lower. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, that why do I like this chart? Because if you look at the daily, it looks like a huge, I mean, not the weekly, but it looks like a huge distribution area. Distributing. It looks like a Wyckoff distribution, right? You guys familiar with that? Let me see if I can find you a picture, guys, for it. Something like this. Doesn't it look like that? But you have your UT, which is the UT is the uptrust after distribution, UTAD test, and then you have your last point of supply right here, and then phase E, which is the phase E, I believe, right here. What does it say right here? Phase C depicts the unfolding of the downtrend. The stock reverses to the TR and supply is in control. Once TR this was created in the 20s, I believe. So this is very true every market. So this is like the last point of supply, and this is where the thing distributes like this is the sell, right? So we'll know. I mean, I don't know. This looks a lot like a Wyckoff distribution. We know that Warren Buffett is heavily invested in this. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. But I will continue to monitor oil for further downside. I like what I'm seeing on Oxy. This is one of the best on the charts on the, like I said, on the weekly. If you look at CVX on the weekly, and I'm sorry for all the lines, I'm not gonna take them off, but it just doesn't look the same, right? A little bit similar. You have your UTAD, and then the last supply right here, and then the leg down. So this is very similar to, if you guys were familiar with what happened with Bitcoin, because a lot of people are familiar with what happened with Bitcoin back at this weekly highs right here, right? Same idea. Your last UTAD test, last supply right here, and then boom, leg down, back down. So be very mindful of that distribution on energy. So I'm very bearish on energy. It's not that heavy of a sector for the S&P 500, but the what you're gonna call it, you'll still be adding pressure to the market. And once I don't know if I'm early on the trade, that this calls for a recessionary period. That's what usually selling oil is what usually calls for, a recession. That's what it usually calls for. And if you look at stuff on the weekly, like this bottoming pattern on the 10-year bonds futures, you'll notice that this is the fear trade going on. You look at it on the daily. You had a massive upside right here, covering all this sell, massive upside. So this is very recession like, very fear traded like, right? If you look at the VIX and stuff like that, you notice that the market is piling on in a lot of defensive areas. It's like famous Don Kaufman says, it's like a duck and cover. Where do I cover from this possible breakdown on the market, right? Do I go to bonds? Do I go to staples? Do I go to the dollar? Do I go to the bonds? Do I go to the VIX? Do I go to gold? You know, so a little bit irrational that the tech is very strong, but the market can be irrational longer than you can stay solvent. You know, T-Mobile just bought Mint Mobile. I don't know what Mint is. Is that like for 1.35 million? Sounds like a very cheap buy. 1.35 million doesn't really sound like a lot of money. It sounds like anybody can buy that company then. Mint is a budget fund carrier. Okay. No idea, Mackie. I didn't know. I had no idea what that was. It sounds like a PC mobile or something like that, right? But 1.3 million sounds like not a lot of money. I think a lot of people can pay that. So sounds like they're just buying some scraps right here, right there. Um, so yeah, that's what we have going on. That's what I see on the markets. I'm inclining to be bearish because of what I see of the fear trade going on. I mean, there doesn't seem to be an unwind on the fear trade at the moment, which is I don't even know what the fear trade is at the moment. I see a lot of them going up, but which one is the one that the market wants to really go to, right? But I cannot ignore that the tech is very bullish. Cannot ignore that tech is very bullish. You know, cannot ignore that as much as I would like to. Um, any questions, guys? That'll be the time. So, so I'll be working with a trade on oil with some friends. I think it's a better short than the rest of the market for a short side. What I'm seeing is very interesting, especially on Oxy. Especially on Oxy. Franchisera. Can I take a look at DPC? Yeah, yeah, we can do. Yeah, actually, you guys can throw some suggestions. See what we see. Let's see what we can see. So, bottoming pattern right here, which is a higher low um, after a deeper low right here. You still have this high right here. Can you? Let me see a little bit further back. Yeah, there's. I like to see whenever a stock has a lot of interactions on the downside or on the upside for the daily 20. You can see there's some interactions on the daily 20 right here. So it seems like there's a little bit of upside to be made into at least a daily 20. And then from there you have to wait to see if there's a break or not, right? There's a perspective from this highs to this lows right here. If you notice that the close of today is right at the 6.5 retracement, so that's a good short positioning, although it already traded above that, by a tiny bit. So it did trade above it by a tiny bit, so that's, I mean, negates the idea that it's gonna reject at the 618. But whenever you see like they try to reject at the 618 right here, right? But it didn't. It managed to push higher. On the On the to continuation higher, what you would like to see on this name, and even though I mean you're probably asking, a lot of people ask because they already have positions on those names, but you would like to see this high to be breached, and the reason is because you have placed a trend of a lower high or equal high up to this. You can actually call it an equal high right here after this major downside move on this, and a higher low. You would like to see this bridge, and actually I'm gonna put an alert right here to aim for some kind of gap fill or this 50 EMA with this support resistance on the daily right here because of this, and then further higher. See if you can go further higher after that, right? But after this moment, I'm gonna put an alert for a possible trade up of where I think Domino's is not DPZ is not that liquid for day trades and stuff like that. That's why I don't look at it anymore. But for longer trades or spreads, it might be worth to take a look at it. And judging by the action today, I mean anything that I believe DPZ is on staples. Let me check. So if the recessionary trade is gonna be on, you're gonna see names on the staples go up. Is this on staples? It's not on staples. I don't see it. It's spacey. I think it's on discretionary then, right? Right here. It's on discretionary right now. So discretionary sector, how does it look right now? Because we have stuff like fast food and all that is actually a recessionary trade. McDonald's is a recessionary trade. So McDonald's, let's say if it's holding these lows right here, it can be a recessionary trade. It can be a trade higher. DPZ is gonna go to with that sector, right? The food sector, the fast food sector. For some reason, I mean, I don't even think it's a cheap play anymore. Jerry T. It's asking for Shopify. Let's look at Shopify. Shopify. Tech is strong, guys. Tech is strong. Recover the daily 20. Let's see. Keep this perspective for whenever you're targeting the long side. If you're starting seeing green on Shopify, you wanna take a look at it whenever you reach that 50% retracement right here. All right, you wanted to assess if you want to take profits or not because I already know you're in a position, Jerry, in there. So keep an eye on that. And also this gap fill. Whenever you encounter, I'll give you a little secret right here, a little tip. Whenever you have a gap fill right here, yes, everybody that whenever it's going higher, everybody's salivating that gap fill, right? Salivating that gap fill so much, but that first level is gonna become resistance before it goes higher, So it may go up to here, and I don't know if reject or not, but a possible, Yeah, possible trade right there. And once you start filling the gap, then you're gonna aim for the full gap fill right here. Once you start traveling inside this high right here. Now, I will be very mindful that the gap fill represents the 618, So right at the gap fill, you're gonna be hitting the 618. If I was long on Shopify, that will be like the main target. Like I will probably, just take it all the way over there and that's it. No more. I like your enthusiasm with the rocket. If you notice this leg down, let's look at this leg down if it had any rejections at important levels. Because this is important. You reject the close below the 6.5, travel above the 6.18, so that kind of got violated right there. So it might go. I think if I had a perfect rejection on the 618, I will call it bearish, but not at that point. Not closing above it, not like that. This leg up had a low to buy. Let me guess, it was very close to a 50% retracement mark right here, which is also, it is a level right here. If you mark this low right here on the daily candle, you'll notice that you're doing some kind of yeah, this low makes sense a lot right here. This low right here. So that was a good low for the today to be hold on Shopify right here. I'm just talking about the past right here, but you have a right now you have a two down, two up, strat reverse, not reversal, but continuation higher. So you will like to see Shopify to break this high, and you will aim for this high. You know, that's what the strategy goes for, right? A little you aim for a break of this high. So if this gets defended, if it doesn't break a new low, to keep a two candle right here, you would like to see an opening a little higher than this and a break of this high. Just keep in mind that no parties, no sharing until you have a daily candle close above this level right here. That's when you start. That's when you can start cheering for the upside, right? You're gonna take the chance before that happens. Obviously, it's working out for you. That's great, but you have to hold your breath or you're cheering until that happens. So you don't celebrate prematurely. We don't do premature celebrations here. 50 tomorrow. I don't know. Why stop at 50? Go to 60. I don't know. I have no idea. Hopefully 50 tomorrow. Why stop at 60? Go to 70, right? Or what do AMC apes 100K floor. All right. Next up, LUB. I believe those are very bearish charts. I haven't seen the chart, but I know airlines are in distress. Yes, very distressed. So, are you looking for a long or a short? If you can let me know. You. Long. Okay. So let me tell you that I wish I had seen this chart because I was a straight short. I was not aware. I'll tell you what. If you're gonna go long on LUV, wear some gloves. Because you're about to catch a falling knife. It's just, there's no pattern right there. In fact, if you would have asked me when it was doing this, right here, I would have tell you to watch for that daily 20 EMA for a short. Obviously, this is in hindsight. It already went. But you're not going to see a possible long into it until you see some kind of bottoming pattern. Just consider what happened here. Consider what happened here. Right? Consider what happened here. You know, this is a very you fall pretty hard, but your only upside is when you start putting a bottoming pattern. Consider what happened here. You fall very hard, and you only gonna see some upside until you see some kind of a bottoming pattern. Bottoming pattern, it's a set of higher lows, and then a set of higher highs. Higher highs, higher lows. That's a bottoming pattern right there. Right now, it's a knife. It's a knife falling down, right? We have a new 52-week low right here on at the lows. You know, as much as we like to buy the dip, honestly, it does not look good. There's no way that's a trade setup right here. If you wanna bet for continuation lower, not even a trade right there, right? Because the move already happened. So you will, if you buy longs right here for LUV, you're looking for catching a knife, and also for, I mean, it's because this is the thing, right? This is the thing about looking for a bottoming pattern before actually going into a trade. And I'll give you an example right here, right? You can buy some 3 months out calls and end up catching the knife and be profitable right here, yes. But you don't know, you could have done that right here and experience a lot of pain, a lot of sideways, doubting yourself if this is gonna go down, if this is gonna go up. I'm already down a lot. Time is coming up. My calls are gonna expire. Blah blah blah. Or you can wait for a little bit of a bottoming pattern, right? This is a very very good example. So you're gonna miss buying the bottom. You're not gonna buy this lows right here, but you're gonna try to buy this lows right here, right? Where you miss some of that action, but the market's already telling you that this is placing at some kind of near-term bottom at that moment. So you have to wait. This is part of the trade. You have to wait for the setup and take it whenever it shows up. I hope that makes sense. It's a good lesson, and I put those a lot of those good lessons on the VIP room, guys. Your extension is to 21. Golly, that's a lot more downside. That's another 9 points. And we have a very talented person in the VIP, Jerry, which does harmonics. I'm not experienced with harmonics. I may tap into it later on. I don't know. It's not my style, but a 21 extension on it. Oh, wow. Wow, what I would look for to see further levels down is look down on the weekly and tell me, start charting levels on the weekly where you see price action, which is this low. That's already gone. So you look for the next low, which is this low right here. Actually, let's add a little more weeks. 5 weeks. I mean, 5 weeks. I'm sorry, years. 10 years. Give me 10 years. Okay. Lows right here. We have some weekly lows right here with some bottoming pattern right there. What level is this? Oops, sorry. What level is this? 28.32. We have this right here. This right here. This right here. This will be the strongest level on it. This will be the strongest level right here. Which is 22.50, So, not looking very good for love. 22.50 possible buy area according to the weekly. That'll be your strongest levels, right? You can bounce on any other point, but that'll be the strongest levels. And of course, it has earnings coming up soon, so not soon, but a month at least, right? Do you do those that TA yourself, Jerry? Or is this from an automatic harmonics tool? So we agree there's no signs for a bounce, and you have to wait for some kind of bottoming pattern if you want to long it. And going short is tough because this thing is already, it can already did a lot of the move. It's already extended, all that. They generate automatically. Oh, I just lost a little bit of respect right there. I'm just kidding, Jerry. I wish you did it yourself. That would be amazing if you did. Yeah, some people come up with are my fists right, and I can see that they're generated from some Finbiz or something with auto fibs. I'm like, just try them yourself and let me know. You still have to read it, yes. You have to validate it. My guess that would be the best validation, right? What did Baba do today? Nothing. Oh man, that was looking like a good long because of this candle. I'm glad we didn't get a lot of calls. So it looked good. I think that's it. That's my time. But I appreciate you guys. We're gonna have a VIP room open on Friday if you guys want to join. We take some trades there. We have fun. We cry. We laugh. We hug each other. We hate each other at sometimes. Yes, I have fun. Oh man, we're gonna start touching on the psychology aspect of trading because we need that. We need that desperately. All right, guys. That's it. That's it for my time. Thank you for sticking till the end. Appreciate you all. Some guys left on the middle of it. Going back just at the very end, on ES at the last 5 minutes, just to see if this is holding up some. This is a buy area because it held earlier, but honestly, making this lower high on the 5 minute time frame. Now, if it makes a lower low right here, that's a straight up negation of this. I'm gonna put an alert because this is a buy area. This is a buy area. So if I put an alert right here, at or below, our that's gonna mean that this thing had no essence and that pump was very, very fake, and to not trust it. To not trust it. We'll see. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Appreciate you. Love and kisses. Hugs and kisses, I'm sorry. Much love. Bye bye.